day, everybody. It is Calxiyn and Hunter here, and if you guys enjoyed this video, remember to subscribe, become patrons over on Patreon to get our videos early, and follow us over on social media. So we are going to be talking about the situation that has happened now with Clover and Qrow, the queerbaiting situation, if you guys want to call it that.
Allegations of queerbaiting.
Yeah, sure. That's what we'll call it. To be clear, like, this is going to be a very civil video. I'm more going to analyze, and you guys know, okay? I spent like $40,000 on my degree. I would like to use it.
We wish it was 4,000.
We wish it was 4,000. It's not. Right? So yeah, if you guys don't know, I'm a professional communication student. That basically means marketing, social media, you know, all of that sort of stuff, right? And so I'm going to be looking at this sort of from an outsider, what went wrong here and why, like, who exactly caused sort of the situation that we see now. And so I think in order, I would like to put it as the marketing team, the animators, unfortunately, so CRWBY, and then the actual show. Does that make sense? And so we're separating the canon of the show and the people that worked on the show and sort of their thoughts. And the reason I'm doing that is because we get into this sort of chicken and egg situation. And I'm also taking a psychology class this semester, so, you know, like heuristics and stuff like that, confirmation bias, right? And it's sort of like, what happened first? Did people see the gay first, or did people see the marketing team like making people think it was gay first, right? So that's the sort of situation we get into, and I am going to show you guys some tweets, but you have to wonder, if the marketing team said nothing and the animators said nothing, would people maybe not be as upset as they are now because it would have been seen as more ambiguous? Because I think that if you look at the canon of the show, just isolated by itself, no marketing, no tweets about how gay everything is, all of that sort of stuff from the animators,
there's
right?
a level of plausible deniability
exactly.
that they didn't think there's a certain level.
It's very ambiguous, and to be honest, can go either way. I think that if I didn't see any of the marketing tweets, and I didn't see any of the gay tweets and, like, whatever, I would have probably been, like, if this is sort of the scale, I probably would have been, like, likely. Does that make sense? Like, likely, most likely, certainly, you know what I'm saying?
Instead of being certainly, which is where we were at.
Exactly, right? And so that's sort of how I feel. I feel that I would have still been leaning towards, ooh, there's something going on here, right? But I think that the marketing department in these tweets sort of amplified things, and that is what I would really like people to understand. Because what annoys me is that even when we were doing the live stream, the people in the chat were starting to piss me off, and it's really hard to moderate and also sort of be, you know, talking at the same time. But people act like the RWBY fans are rabid, and I can understand how maybe you could see that if you just watch a show and don't interact at all. But you guys have to understand, when there are animators tweeting about how gay scenes are and how gay they tried to make the scenes, right? And again, I'm not blaming the animators, right? And I don't want you guys to send hate towards them, but you have to understand how it looks like. And the marketing department posting all of these tweets about, like, you know, that are so, like, sort of suggestive in that general direction, right? That starts to influence people, and that is sort of the baiting. Because here's what I think about the marketing team, and we're going to explain this as I show you guys the tweet. So let's go over here. Here's the thing, right? Marketing is basically all about clickbait already, right? Even without sort of the queerbaiting, right? And you can sort of see by, like, the RWBY account's tweets, like, some of them, they're hit or miss, right? Like this one about the, I guess, the RWBY Valentine's Day shirts, which aren't that good either, by the way. Like, you know what I mean? There's a how can you do a Valentine's Day line? Let me just tangent for a minute. How can you do a Valentine's Day line but then have no couples? Like, not Renora, not Bumblebee, not, like, Ozma and Salem or whatever. It's a friendly grip, like, okay, but, you know.
They also had, like, Chris Damaris, him, and then he was meant to be, like, it was a joke that he was awkward and he was with Blaine Gibson, and, like, that was the couple. Like, that's not the couple
people. At the school dance and stuff like that.
People care about.
And so, you know, this has 600. This is doing better, like, with the, you know, they're trying to be funny and stuff like that, but some of these tweets are not, you know,
setting the world on fire.
Exactly. Like, some of these tweets are from other people, and they have more likes than this account normally get. Like, again, the shirt.
Oh, the menagerie shirt.
Stuff. Like, this is not going well over here, but if you go over to tweets like this, where they're like, whoa, and then it has almost 6K likes, right? So I'm just saying, when you sort of look at this, it's sort of them promoting the show and stuff, and then you look at the situations, and I'm just going to show a straight ship that they were also sort of, you know, going for, just for this.
Yes.
And obviously it was the Oscars tweet, right? So it's supposed to be like, you know, like Oscars and then Oscar, but you can see she smiles when she sees Oscar, and you know,
That's
like you
shippy.
can look when
Yes.
people are talking in the comments. They're all saying like, can this community do something that's not shipping? And they even say that on the Clover tweets. So here's my argument. People who do not like shipping saw these tweets from the marketing team and said that the marketing team was talking about shipping. Does that make sense? Like, people under this tweet, under the Clover and Qrow tweet, are like, why is the marketing team posting about the ship? So it's clear, even to other people, that they weren't posting this just to show Clover and Qrow, like, being pals. Like, the marketing team was obviously trying to do something, because even the people that don't like shipping could recognize that that is what the marketing team was trying to do. And in my personal analysis, right, it's for attention. Look at, like, how much these tweets are getting, right? That one's okay. Like, but, you know, just compared to some of the other ones, like, these both have over 5K, and they're about
ships.
Yeah, they're about the ships.
Because ultimately they want
And then-
something that will go viral within the community.
This was another
and
one.
shipping
So they
does
didn't
well
actually
like that.
post this, but like people saw the parallels between this, and so I think that's another reason where the queerbaiting sort of started.
Yeah.
And I think that I think some CRWBY may have retweeted that. I don't know, but this wasn't posted by the animation, or this wasn't posted by the official Twitter account. This was just posted, and so that's again another reason why people were sort of like, you know, like maybe something's going on here. But yeah, you can see that it's for attention. They were doing it for attention, and I had to open multiple tabs because Twitter didn't appreciate how many links I was trying to put up. But yeah, again, if you look at some of their other posts, like their Mulan joke didn't go as well over as the shipping post.
Because it's
right?
when they do stuff like show even like something like this that in a sense was a sneak peek. Like those do well, but you can't always do sneak peeks. It's a
Right.
lot easier
And
to
so
just do
I
like
feel
weird
like-
meme shipping
And we'll
stuff.
get to this later, but Eddie sort of talks about like the marketing and the canon isn't one for one. Like, so I would argue, okay, that the RWBY Twitter account basically is ship baiting. Like queer baiting, certainly, but also just ship baiting
Yes.
for the attention, and you probably shouldn't listen to them because
they want
they want the
interactions.
interaction, they want the stuff, right? And so that's the thing, is that you know, it is scummy to some extent, especially because it is about like, you know, queer baiting is a big issue. At the same time, that's their job, is to get the interaction. So maybe just don't give it to them in the future. That would be a great idea. Like, not that they should be doing this anyway, but you have to realize that it's also a business and they want the interaction and all of that stuff. And so they're gonna use you to get it. You know what I mean? They're gonna use your gay hopes. So now we're gonna move on to the animators, okay? And again, I love Kim Newman. The other animator that sort of commented on this, I have no idea who she is. I probably love her too, you know what I mean? Like, we have nothing for love for CRWBY in this house. But at the same time, was this the best decision? And she didn't know. Okay, let's make that very clear. She stopped working on, I think she stopped around episode 6. She didn't know Clover was gonna die. But
even if she didn't, an animator and a writer have very different jobs.
Exactly.
They could have just been working on very earlier episodes
Yeah.
and had no
And
idea.
she had no
that
idea,
this was
right?
happening.
Here's the problem, though. This isn't the animator's fault, but this has more to do with Rooster Teeth policy, right? If I were going to, you know, enact something, like, if I was the CEO of Rooster Teeth, I would probably have, if my, you know, people, I guess, if my animators or whatever want to interact with the fans like this, I'd probably get them to make another Twitter account. And I wouldn't even say an alt account where people don't know their identity, but like, Aaron Dukeman, that's his name, right? The guy that voices Oscar.
Yes.
He retweeted a scene between Oscar and RWBY, but he had to preface. He was like, hey, this is not confirming, nor denying, nor endorsing the ship. I just like the scene, right? But when you do stuff like this, it sort of puts people in a weird place, because on one hand, the animators are not the writers, right? On the other hand, in the past, the animators have confirmed things, you know, when it comes to Bumblebee, or even like Kaden announcing that her character was trans, and I think was totally appropriate. She should do that. It's her character, right? But we get into this weird water where people think that a like from the animators or some sort of endorsement like this from the animators is an endorsement. You know what I mean? Like, tweets like this are endorsements.
And people end up falling for that, including us, because earlier we made whole videos about how we believe Nora to be trans because of a like.
The lead concept artist was liking the tweets, right?
And Kim Newman, and so did Eddie Rivas.
And I know that a hard sort of balance to walk on, right? Because we want CRWBY to interact with us more. At the same time, I feel like that there should be some sort of policy in place, and Kim doesn't work there anymore, so I guess it doesn't matter, but, you know, there probably should be something in place where it's like, hey, like, maybe either put a disclaimer when you tweet, which I know, like, that doesn't sound sexy, but I'm just saying, put a disclaimer, or make an alt account if you really, because there's another person, I think, that was an animator, and they were making art and stuff like that, and I'm like, maybe you need to make an alt account, and I know that sucks, but at the same time, would that have prevented this if Kim just made, like, you know, an alt account and nobody knew it was her?
But
because
no one cares about...
people take it as fact. That's the thing. Like, people see this, and they take it as fact, and you can say that that's their fault, but at the same time, where do we draw the line? Because sometimes the animators do say stuff that is fact. The animators were the ones who confirmed that Adam died, and now you're seeing this, and you're like, okay, well, if the animators have confirmed stuff before, are they doing that again? Like, we get into sort of that confusion, and you have this, right? Qrow's boyfriend count, 2, like, all that sort of stuff, right?
I would say that
then you have the Iron Crow scene.
There's a line that we should try to walk, because on one hand, seeing people tweeting that are actually involved in the show are a lot more interesting than just a random fan account or like a side account that they would have. So I don't know if they should, personally, I don't know if they should leave the site entirely.
I think there was another, hold on, where is it?
But maybe like a balance should be struck.
Yeah, all I remember is you and me working together to make it as gay as possible. Yeah, that sounds about right. Maybe that wasn't the best idea, sweeties, okay? Like, I'm just saying, again, I love them, nothing but love. This isn't their fault. Ultimately, Rooster Teeth needs to have some sort of policy in place to present, like, here's the thing about Rooster Teeth, okay? Rooster Teeth creates their own PR problems, and I will maintain that until the day I die, okay? Like, every single PR situation that has happened this year, I've done reports on these for class, you know what I mean? It has gotten, like, kind of bad, and so I feel like they really brought this on themselves, because if they just had, you know, like, hey, maybe don't tweet about the ships, all right? Maybe just don't tweet about the ships. You can tweet about the show, maybe just not the ships, right? Like, then you can still have them interact with us, but maybe don't tweet about the ship, unless it's like Roman and Weiss, okay? Because Roman's dead and it doesn't fucking matter.
Or, you know? Like, confirmed ships. Like, I don't think anybody would be in trouble for saying stuff about Bumblebee or Renora,
right? But with this, it's like, well, this is what makes everyone's hopes get up, is things being as gay as possible. That's where I feel like that maybe we're running into some problems.
And unfortunately, it wasn't as gay as possible.
I would like to look at the sort of statement here. I'm not going to read all of that, but yeah, like, I think that this animator is genuinely very sorry and, like, feels real bad about, like, what has happened and all that stuff. And she says it was a lesson for her. Like, sweetie, you didn't do anything wrong. It's a lesson for Rooster Teeth. They let y'all, you know what I mean? They let y'all get thrown under the bus for something that I would say was mostly the marketing team. And you know what I mean? They could have prevented this from happening if they had talked to y'all about maybe the dangers of how this could go PR-wise, knowing that Clover was gonna die, but nobody protected you. That's what I'm saying about the animators, is it's like, yeah, they posted it, and yeah, they got people's hopes up, but ultimately, who should have stopped them? Rooster Teeth, right? Because, like, that's the tea, that's the thing. And we're also gonna talk about Eddie, which I had to pull up on fucking Internet Explorer because Twitter does not want me posting this many links. So this was a reply to Unicorn of War. And, reading this, like, Eddie was like, I don't want to step on any toes, and that the content and the marketing decisions are not one-to-one. Like, I'm not gonna put words into Eddie's mouth, but this confirms what I already believe, that the marketing team is really at fault for this, and maybe Eddie doesn't exactly approve of what the marketing team was doing, and the marketing decisions that were made, and maybe they don't like that, but, like, they're not the marketing people, so what can they do, right? And so now that we've shown sort of all of the tweets and all these things, let's get back to us. So now that we've seen all of the tweets, I think that it's safe to say that the marketing team made a little bit of an oopsie whoopsie on, you know, what they were doing, and I feel like that at the end of the day, this is kind of Rooster Teeth's fault. Like, I feel like they probably should have some kind of built-in policy, especially for the people that are working on the show, and, you know, no spoilers. Like, they have NDAs and stuff like that, I'm sure, right? And we've sort of, you know, heard about those things before, right? And when you think about it like that, you know, it wouldn't be hard to be like, hey, could you just not post about, unconfirmed ships on your
Ship
account,
theft.
maybe, right? Like, all of that sort of stuff. And maybe after the volume is over, but during the volume, like, I feel like this is a lot of the chaos. And again, I don't want anyone sending hate towards the animators, because, like, how the fuck were they supposed to know?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? They were
arguably
already deep in it before they realized that he was
They
gonna
could have
die.
animated the scenes. They were likely under an NDA. They probably aren't talking about the plot of the show as they're working on it. So chances are a lot of these people could have been saying this stuff about Qrow
Kim
and Clover
left too,
and
like,
have not known. Yeah,
like
Kim
a while
especially.
ago, right?
Mhm.
So it's one of those things where it's like, it's not their fault. Who I think is to blame the most is definitely the marketing, and then whoever is in charge of sort of letting people post stuff on Twitter. You know what I mean? Like the NDAs and the legal stuff and the stuff like that. And again, we want CRWBY to interact with us. We want them to feel safe. We don't want them to feel like they need to hide away, because for the longest time, I feel like that's how Miles and Carrie may have felt, like that they were hiding from us because the internet was just so bad to them sometimes, right? I don't want people to have to do that. We love that CRWBY is interacting more. I love that Eddie, is engaging with us more through comments and sort of live streams.
We haven't beaten it out
Twitter
of him
replies.
yet.
We haven't beaten it out of him yet. Yeah, exactly. And so it's one of those things where I'm like, I don't want them to get scared away, right? But I do think that this could have been easily preventable if the marketing team was like, could you maybe, I don't know, just use some of the straight ships to ship bait on your account, maybe? Like, I don't think they posted that much on Renora. If anything, on their account, like, not as many posts as they made about Clover and Qrow or Blake and Yang.
Yeah, go for stuff that's more on the confirmed, like a Blake and a Yang or a Renora.
And so I'm baffled that it's like, I think the Clover and Qrow stuff has like 5 tweets, and I'm like, how many tweets did Renora get? And they're the canon ship this volume. I mean, again, I didn't look into that, so I can't really compare the numbers, but yeah. I think the marketing team did it for attention. I think that it backfired.
But unfair, that is what they have to do.
I know, but it gets all very
complicated. And also,
complicated,
focusing
right?
only on them, I think, takes some of the blame away from RWBY. And let's be real here,
Yeah.
especially if you look at our reactions. When we initially looked at them, we thought, like, oh, Clover was going to be the bad guy and they're going to hate each other. But the second that we found out that Clover had a good luck semblance, we immediately were like, boyfriend. We didn't even have to look at those tweets.
I know. It's hard, though, because it's like, it's the chicken or the egg.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I think that people would have been less upset if the marketing and the tweets never existed, right? That's just, and I can't say that for certain, but it's like, I don't know, if you could clone a Calxiyn and like put her in a room and only bring her out when RWBY was happening, she would probably have a different impression of Clover and Qrow than me, because, these tweets made a whole video about how Clover could be gay and how Qrow could be gay and how everything could be gay, right? And so it's one of those things where it's like, you never know. It's a chicken and the egg thing, and I'll never know for sure. But I'm willing to sort of, put my Calxiyn stamp on this. If the marketing didn't do what they were doing and those tweets were never out, would people be as upset, like to the point like where it's like rage up here? I think it would still be here.
It would be considerable, but maybe a little bit less. I think it would be 75% rage maybe on a scale, but now it's like 110 because it really pissed as we
people
mentioned
off,
previously, like having the crew like the tweets about these things validates these opinions. Like we did a whole, like we fall for this stuff too. We did a whole video about how Nora might be trans,
but you know
because
why?
Eddie Rivas and Kib liked the tweet.
Again, I think we talked about this in the tweet segment, but it's like the Adam stuff. Like an animator confirmed that Adam was dead. So I feel like maybe we have to draw some boundaries where maybe the animator shouldn't confirm stuff on Twitter, and if you want to confirm Adam is dead, maybe you should do it, Carrie. I don't know. I'm just saying that the problem becomes, and basically it's like this: animator confirms one thing. All tweets animator does are confirmations. Does that make sense? It's like all humans are mammals. So it's one of those sort of argument points, right? It's one of those things. And so it's one of those things where it's like, okay, did Kim confirm that Adam died? Let's just say that
Someone did.
that it may have been her. I can't remember. Let's just say that she did for the sake of argument, okay? Kim confirmed that Adam died. Kim is talking about Qrow being gay. If she talked about Adam being dead, could she also be confirming that Qrow is gay? Right? Like, that is how people think, and that is the problem. And you could blame that on the fans, like, oh, well, the fans shouldn't think that that's their fault. But again, when you have animators confirming things like Adam's fucking death, which is canon, then you have the issue, right? So maybe the animators shouldn't do that, sis. Maybe that's not a great idea. Because again, we did the whole Nora being trans video because the lead artist liked the tweets. Stop it. No, don't do it anymore. If it's shipping or if it's like LGBT stuff, like, do not like the tweets. Do not comment all the tweets. Do not comment on ships that aren't confirmed, okay? Don't do it. It just seems
maybe
like bad
we're just
news,
too excitable, or when people confirm thing, it should only be Miles or Carrie or
I think it
Rivas.
should. Like, it should only be them three, okay? Do not confirm that Adam is dead, alright? Let someone else do it, please.
I would say, though, that I mean, it was a little gay. The subtext was there.
Yeah,
Let's
I would
be
say
honest
that's how I
with
feel.
ourselves.
That's how I feel like it was likely gay. Like it was a little gay. It was there was enough gay. Like if I had to make a line of like this is the middle and then this is like likely and then to like it's certain, I would probably be like over here. Like I was just like,
but we thought it was
something
certain
there. But we
near
did
the
because
end.
of the animator.
And I think that definitely added to it. What I will say, though, about them being... One, you should worry about it a lot, because fan anger about queerbaiting has, sunk, the legendary... Voltron, the Legendary Defenders before.
And that's the thing. Rooster Teeth creates their own fucking PR nightmares, okay? This could have been avoided. They don't realize that this was bad. It was good for the Rooster Teeth Twitter account to get some interaction, but who the fuck cares about the Rooster Teeth Twitter account or the RWBY Twitter account when you have no fucking show anymore because your fans are so outraged? And I'm not saying that this would sink CRWBY, but if you do look at Voltron and the reputation that Voltron has, I wouldn't wanna.
But Voltron had a similar thing. They had contrasting characters who the fans really liked, and they constantly butted heads. I think Rooster Teeth was in fact worse because they had smiley, flirty moments where, I mean, I haven't watched a lot of Voltron, but the parallels are very similar.
Yeah. I need to tell you, Rooster Teeth, stop it, please, all right? As soon as I get out of school, I'm gonna apply. I'm gonna be like, all right, sis, bring me to Austin, Texas, let me fix this shit. Because they really need a fan perspective. Because any fan could tell them that this was gonna go south from miles and miles and miles away. But I would like to say, and I think that you're gonna sort of take the lead on this, Hunter, is that just because Clover is dead does not mean that they are not both gay.
Or bi, or whatever,
right?
Spice of MLM they are. Because, I mean, he can still be gay. He's just gay and also a terrible prospective boyfriend for Qrow. If anything, this is an opportunity for growth for RWBY. Qrow can have a better boyfriend next time. One that isn't a cop, one that doesn't betray him. Because we do have, a bias in that now that we see how it's completed. Yeah. It's a hindsight bias that we think, oh, now it was obvious that Clover was gonna die or betray him. But it kind of was. He was super supportive of Atlas. Every member of Aesop's was very cutthroat and didn't care about friends. They were a team of 5 when RWBY is always focused on teams of 4s.
Yeah, that was the big one.
It's hindsight bias. But it's definitely there.
But we even said that. We're like, Clover's gonna die. And then everyone got mad because they were like, well, that would be bury your gays because Clover is gay.
But bury your gays speaks to, I think... you could argue that bury your gays is not a black and white thing. It could also be a grading. Because proper bury your gays, I believe, is when there is one token gay character and they die. Right. RWBY does not have one token gay character. By our estimates, there's 10 or so queer characters, either confirmed in the show or in the novels or in the mangas, all canon material.
I feel like what people need to understand, and this is what grinds my gears, okay? RWBY is a show about female empowerment, okay? The girls. Who are the main characters? The girls.
There was a graph that in the first 2 seasons of RWBY, 80% of the spoken dialogue were all women. And
so it's one of those things where I'm like, what boys do we have? We have Jean, Ren, within the past recent seasons, right? Say volume 4 and up. We have Jean, Ren, Qrow, right?
Ozpin,
Oscar, Lionheart, Ironwood.
But no, multi-season characters.
Multi-season characters, okay.
Lionheart was one, really.
And so it's one of those things where I'm sort of thinking, from the perspective, I'm like, yeah, of course they would introduce the, women ships first. You know what I mean? Because this is a show about the girls. And the other thing is that all of our gays are in Vacuo, okay? Team Coffee is in Vacuo. Vacuo. Team
Scarlet?
Sun is in Vacuo, and I feel like people need to
Alias in
understand that.
Menagerie.
They don't hate you, okay? They don't hate, because I saw that. I saw, like, Qrow hates male and male rep. Like, that was somebody's whole username or something.
Yeah,
like,
I did see that.
Qrow hates men or something. Like, I don't know, just something like that. And it's like, no, they don't hate you.
That's hyperbolic.
It's just that the male characters are not the focus of the show because, you know, like, the whole premise of the show is the girl power stuff, but also the ones that are gay will come in Vacuo, right? Like, you just need to wait, and I understand that people are impatient about it, but I feel like you guys have to just trust QRWBY.
I waited
a little bit
6 long
at this
years
point.
for Bumblebee. God
Exactly.
damn it.
And so it's one of those things where I'm
Yeah.
like, do you guys not believe, like, QRWBY has done good before? I am very optimistic about the male and male stuff because like, we have all of these gay characters already, and we have a trans character voiced by a trans voice actress. Like how much does that happen? It doesn't. And so that is what grinds my gears a little bit, is that QRWBY has done so much good, but because they haven't done this one thing yet, when the show's not even over, if the show ends and there's no gay men, okay, then I'll be with you guys. But the show's not even over. It may not even be halfway over, sis. Relax.
Like, it's...
Stop.
I think it's... So, I would say that it's not...
I understand people being
Yeah.
upset, but people also need to chill a little bit and recognize that we're only at the Atlas arc. If Atlas lasts 2 seasons, if Vacuo lasts 2 more seasons, maybe even, I don't know, like, whatever. So if there's the Vacuo seasons and then something else and then something else, like, there's still 4 seasons of the show, and since volume 1 to 3 are short, that's basically halfway. Like, you know what I mean? Because let's say volume 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 9 Vacuo, 10 Vacuo, and then the 2 are the end of the show. That's basically half, right? You know what I mean? And so, and Scarlet's already confirmed gay, so we are gonna see him again. Hopefully, Sage is his boyfriend, and that's how it'll go. But yeah.
There's also, I would argue, it's, and I mentioned this kind of previously, that is it queerbaiting? Well, they can still be gay. Like, you know, he can still be gay. He's just a gay character that died. Qrow could still be gay. They're just a gay character that's not in a relationship. You are still gay or bi, even if you are not in a relationship. That doesn't negate that
And
about you.
that's why I think it's more relationship baiting.
Was it relationship
Twitter
baiting?
account.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But queer
that is
baiting,
fair.
I do believe that Qrow can still be gay, and I don't know. I just think, again, the barrier gaze thing, it's like, that would be, again, all the gay characters in RWBY die. Every single one, 100%, or even 75%, even half, right? But that's not how it works, and that's not what has happened. Like, you know, the straights lost Pyrrha, all right? Like,
that's
they
fair.
suffered.
Yeah,
okay?
that's
Don't
happened
worry.
before. It happened. We did it to straight people. I guess it is our turn now. And I, you know, to that I would say, I understand why people are upset that they were really invested and they thought that this was Qrow finally, like, you know, coming to terms with himself and being happy, and then him also being a gay or a bi character. I think that's really meaningful for people. I understand why people are upset. Even to an extent, that person that said QRWBY hates gay representation, I think they're hyperbolic. I think they're wrong. But I understand why they're upset. You know, we have investments in these sort of things, and to them I would say, I believe in Rooster Teeth. I do believe that they will have good representation. I believe that when you think about RWBY, about how, especially within the last 3 volumes, how good their rep has been, I think we will have Qrow. If not Qrow having a boyfriend, there will be some MLM characters. They will be loved like Qrow and like Clover was. I believe that's going to happen.
Here's how I would do it.
Yeah?
Okay. Scarlet and Sage. Or possibly Scarlet and Neptune. Okay?
I would do Scarlet and Neptune.
Scarlet and Neptune.
Neptune by Scarlet
Gay.
Yes.
And then, okay, Yasuhashi and Velvet, and then Coco and Fox, but Coco and Fox aren't together. It's just like Fox is gay and then Coco is lesbian, and they go palin on the town trying to hook each other, like wingman situation.
I get it.
You understand what I mean? And so, not that they get together, I'm saying that because Coco's confirmed to be a lesbian, and so I'm just saying that Fox will also be gay, and they'll go to gay bars together and help each other pick up, you know, what they're looking for, basically. That's what I'm saying. The famous Vacuo gay bar.
Everyone's gay in the desert.
So,
haven't you heard?
Yeah, that's what I would do.
I've been a Rooster Teeth fan for a very long time. Rooster Teeth has grown a lot when it comes to gay representation. Like, back in the day with Red vs. Blue and Donut was like a really kind of bland, stereotypical, they would always make like anal jokes about this effeminate gay soldier in pink armor, and
Yeah.
they named him Donut. Jump from that to having a trans woman play May, or a non-binary person playing Val, or all the different, LGBT rep, not even in the shows, but in the podcasts.
Yeah.
Like, they put Mariel Salcedo, who's a lesbian, like, front and center in Always Open. Like, Lindsay Jones, who's front and center in a lot of Achievement Hunter content, is a bisexual woman.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I do genuinely believe that they care, which is why I ask people not to get too angry, even if you are angry, and I do understand that, not to get angry at Qrow,
Patience,
to
I
be
guess, is
patient,
all.
because I do really believe they are trying. And I've been wrong before, but I don't think I will be wrong this time. I do really believe in Rooster Teeth.
I think that's...
And I think you need to have a positive outlook.
I agree, yeah.
And if not that, people were upset when Flynn and Poe didn't get together in Star Wars, and so someone wrote a Flynn and Poe, ish novel called Bonds of Brass, and it's gotten really big. So, my God, sometimes you gotta be the change you want to see in the world. You write that gay fan fiction. Because
I had
gotta
a
fight
perfect idea, by the way. So this is how we'll end this video. Hunter has seen Barbie Princess and the Pauper. So my idea was that Robin is the pauper, okay? Winter is the princess. And you know how there's Julian, who's supposed to be in love with the princess, and then there's King Dominic, who's supposed to be in love with the pauper instead, okay? Winter and Robin are in love with each other, and then Qrow in his little ponytail, all right? And then Clover, who's gonna be the king, because, authoritarianism is Clover, and then Qrow will be the tutor in his little ponytail, and they'll get together.
So
Just
really,
like that.
sometimes...
So I'm gonna make a Princess and the Pauper AU fanfiction about Winter and Robin and Clover x Qrow.
So I guess that's the message.
Yes.
Believe in Qrow, believe in RWBY, believe that they will have gay representation, and people, especially large media firms, will fail you, and I think take that anger and that spite and that disappointment and funnel that into creating something, be the gay representation you want to see in the world.
Sure.
And I think those two messages are more positive note.
You know
I think
what
we want to leave
thinking
people
of
with.
while we were talking about this is it's the only reason. So Hunter and I were talking off screen, and I was saying that I would be happy if Genlock never came back. But I would like to revise that. The only reason that I want Genlock to come back is because if Val gets with Kazu, that'll be a gender fluid character, being with a gay man. And then I feel like that's a really good one. I feel like their relationship was really good, and we can have something there. We can do something with that. I know it's not RWBY, but I was thinking about that, and I'm like, that's the only reason I want Genlock to come back, for Valentina, and then for Kazu and Valentina, basically. So yeah, that is that on that, and I will see you guys later. Bye.